their car real quick.
Here, let me
Johnny doesn't know what he is doing.
Oh my god.
Grant, smile for the picture. Come on.
Granny! Granny!
Look at the camera.
Granny! What? Are you enjoying it?
Oh my god.
Randy, what would you describe just happened?
He blew his balls off, didn't he? Oh, look at that.
Alright, Grant, let's do this.
And she's off.
Yeah, and I was about to hit Carolina. I want to get taken right now.
What with that horn, man?
Leave me alone.
Can I get a ride, Graham? Graham, look!
I know when you're
All the memories. Hey, man.
That blind thing broke over there.
Alright guys, I'm gonna do like a voiceover from home. So this was the day we left. The morning we got up around 9 or so. Cars were packed up and the house was cleaned up by about 9:30 and we took off. First thing we did was rinse the cars off. Jake didn't have to wash his, it was pretty clean, but ours we drove a lot more and it was just covered in like bugs and whatnot, so I ran it through the car wash again and vacuumed it out. I love these car washes. I don't know, they're like mesmerizing to me. I'd actually kind of like to open one, to be honest with you. But so we didn't really have any plans for today. You know, obviously we knew we were gonna get some breakfast and then just kind of like find stuff to do as the day went on. Our flight boarded at 6:53 p.m. and it was about 10 a.m. right now, so I was like, all right, after this let's get some breakfast and then let's figure out what to do. And after this we ended up going just right down the road to IHOP. It was almost a half-hour wait, but we ended up getting in pretty quick, and I didn't eat. I had some crepes, and then I just kept putting Snapchat filters on Angry Grandma because it was really entertaining. She looked like the Monsters, Inc. character there. Almost kind of reminds me of like Walter from Breaking Bad. I probably had more fun than I should have. And then we ended up heading about halfway to the airport. We were about 40 minutes away, so we headed out towards the area, just kind of stopping where we went, you know, places we saw. And we ended up going to the same place we went to last year that had the big arcade and stuff. And we went to this place, Bahama Bucks, and they were the best like slushies I've ever had. Like the ice was like super fine. It wasn't like, you know, real chunky. And I got like a strawberry Nerds one. And Angry Grandma, of course, was hanging outside smoking. Surprisingly, she only got recognized a couple times. And then we bought some like hour-long play cards at this arcade. Jake was whooping Caleb's ass at this game, and then I whooped Jake's ass at it. That was probably the second most fun game they had there. I love playing this one.
Sweet shot. Red player, shoot. Nice shot.
Yellow player,
shoot.
Oh, Jake could have had him.
Shoot.
God bless it.
Yellow player, shoot.
Oh shit.
Team Yellow, you win.
So I've seen these ones around a lot at like Dave & Buster's and whatnot. Never played it because I'm a big guy. I don't really like jumping.
Nope.
I seen Jake do it, and then Caleb did it, and I was like, you know what, screw it, I gotta try it. It looks kind of fun. It actually looks really easy, but it's really hard. I couldn't really get much farther than Jake. And then me and Jake found this machine kind of hidden way in the back after we tried playing air hockey on like the world's worst air hockey table. I don't think any air was coming out, and it was curved, which was really weird. We started playing this. I remember playing this a couple times when I was young. Never really got into it too much, but for some reason me and him were like obsessed with playing this. The way this arcade works is you can buy like a timed card. Like you just pay like 25 bucks for like an hour's worth of play, and you just swipe it, you know, wherever you want to play, just like Dave & Buster's. And I probably had like 40 minutes left on my card, and we spent the rest of that 40 minutes here just playing over and over. This game was a blast, and Jake was talking about buying one. I low-key kind of hope he does, because I'll probably just hang out over there and play this thing all day, every day when I'm not at work. The funniest part was, like, we're both pretty bad at it. Like, most of our goals were just us scoring on each other, like me accidentally hitting into my side, him accidentally hitting into his side. And then we were getting ready to leave, and I used the bathroom, and I found this sink, and my mind was blown. A sink and dryer all in one. So then after sitting in the parking lot for like 20 minutes, just kind of clueless on what to do, we remembered about this place. I really wanted to go to it. Jake was pretty interested in it. Everyone else really wasn't, because it was pretty expensive. It's Andretti Indoor Karting, and this place was wild. Like, first off, it was swamped with people, so it was super busy. But they have like a giant arcade. They have these racing simulators, but their specialty is these indoor go-karts. They're electric, and they're like really powerful. You do like 35, something like that, miles an hour. They have like a little turbo button on them, so you can go faster, which you get to use once every lap. It's something like $30 per race, and it's like for like a 7-minute race. There's 3 tracks. One's a little kids track, and then there's 2 adult tracks. I didn't know what was what when we ordered, so we got 2 of the same tracks, but it was a blast. These things fly. They're so torquey. I ended up winning here on this one, which was awesome because I started out like dead last. And then we were returning our cars to the airport. We had a rental through Budget, which you literally just pull up and drop your keys. It was really cool. Just leave your keys in it. Jake had Turo, so we had to take some pictures and upload them in the app. That was about it. And then it was like 5:30, and we waited. Got on our plane. We got to board first because, you know, Angry Grandma was using a wheelchair, so you get to board first. No idea what this like smoke stuff was coming out of the vents. I don't know if it's like humidity or what, but here's where it got really fun. I was like, you know what? I got the window seat again. I'm gonna hold my phone up and do like a really nice time lapse of like us backing out of the gate and then all the way up into the air. I was like, you know, it's gonna take probably like a half hour, but my hand will be cramped, but it'll make a really cool video, right? Well, I thought. So I cut the clip quite a few times. We would get somewhere, and mind you, it's probably been like 10 minutes since we backed out here already, and then we would just sit. And they weren't saying anything on the plane. Like, we're all just kind of sitting there like nonchalantly, like, hey, what's going on? Then they finally make a call that said the weather over Georgia was really bad, and they wanted all the planes flying through a very small channel, I think is what they said. And where we were taking off, we would not have been high enough in the air, basically. Like, we wouldn't have been at the right altitude. And we ended up sitting there for about an hour total. It was crazy. Like, we would move like this, like you see here. And mind you, this is a time lapse. So in reality, we're going really slow. We would sit there, and then we'd move for about 5 minutes, and then we'd sit for another 20 minutes. I was watching Bridesmaids on my little, you know, the little in-seat screen or whatever that's built in. I was over an hour into the movie before we took off on the air, which is crazy. Normally it's about, once the plane starts backing up out of the gate, normally it's about 10 minutes tops. That's the longest it's ever been for us. And then we sat right here for a while, and I was just kind of at this point, I was like, man, this is like, we've been sitting here longer than it should have took us to be like almost halfway home by now. And then they finally made the announcement, which I didn't get on camera, but that's when we finally figured out what was going on. So then we start moving again. And as you'll notice from like every time the time lapse changes, the hue of outside changes. So we finally got to take off, and if you slow it down back there, you can see like it was like a traffic jam of planes. There was probably like 20, 25 planes just sitting there bumper to bumper, or nose to butt, whatever the heck you want to call them on the planes. And yeah, so I feel bad for those people who had to wait, because some of those like that were behind us, it was like a 5-minute trip every time one went to the runway. So they had probably over an hour's worth of waiting still. And then here we are up in the air. We weren't all the way up yet here. We ended up getting like above all these clouds, but this is just, I absolutely love the window seat because you just get the most spectacular views. The clouds look amazing, and then like as the sun set, it just looked better and better, as you can see here. It's surreal. It's so like calming to me. And Shelby is absolutely terrified to look out the window, which cracks me up because to me that is so peaceful. And then here we are back in Detroit. We landed at the airport. A lot of turbulence, but to me it really wasn't that bad. I mean, of course, it was a lot. I'm not going to downplay it, but it doesn't bother me, I guess is what I mean by that. Now we are home. Today is Tuesday, actually. I made this same clip yesterday, but I ended up making it was like a 35-minute clip of me sitting here talking, so I kind of just decided to do the voiceover on the video instead to save some time. But not only was the takeoff very crappy, but even better, we get home. As soon as our plane touches the ground, and then I start getting cell service again, I get a text. Well, we are actually off the plane. We had got on the shuttle. We got our luggage. Everything went really smooth with that. We got on our shuttle. The shuttle bus that took us back to like the parking garage, not parking garage, but parking lot where we parked. That was like $120. That sucked, but it was, I guess, the price of convenience, not having to bother, a family member or friend to drive us, and then, also pay for their gas, and then, hope that they show up on time, because our flight was really early the day we left. We left the house at like 4 or 5 in the morning or something like that. I don't even remember, but and then flying back, we just get right to my car and then hop in and go. So kind of like pros and cons, you got to weigh them out. But anyways, so as soon as we got back to our car, I get in there, I'm letting it run for a minute because it's been sitting, I'm getting the air going and, cleaning the windshield off because it was just like dusty. It probably rained and all the pollen and stuff in the air. I looked down at my phone finally, so I connected to my radio, it shows CarPlay, get directions to go home. And I get a text from DTE, which is our electric company, that we don't have power. They don't know this, so like when we lose power, I get a text from the company that says, we're aware of the situation. It'll say like a cause or like a reason if they know, and then like an estimated time that it should be back on. So they didn't know the reason, and they didn't know the estimate of time or whatever for it to be back on. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Mind you, there is no storms, no wind, no bad weather, nothing. It's a normal night like we've had, and actually a couple days prior, we had some horrible storms here. Never lost power. No one's home, but we never lost power. The night we fly back home, we lose power. I was so irritable because of that. That ride home was just terrible. Both of us were like, you gotta be effing kidding me. No way. So we get home. My mom was here. She wanted to surprise us, basically, obviously congratulate us because she wasn't able to, be at our wedding either, and just hug us, and she wanted to see the wedding video, of course, and just basically just welcome us back home, you know what I mean? And she had some food for us, and we knew that she was going to be there. She told us about the food, so we're like, cool, we don't got to worry about, grabbing some McDonald's or something on the way home, which luckily, because everything was closed, because our flight got in over an hour after it was supposed to. So we're coming down the road. I hadn't even texted my mom yet. I told her we landed, but that was the end of that conversation because I saw that we were without power, and I was just irate, basically. So sitting there, pull up to our driveway, see her car, and she's inside. And the let me backtrack a little bit too with the power. Literally just a small group of houses around our house was without power. It wasn't the whole neighborhood. It wasn't a large chunk of the city. It wasn't a whole block. It was if I had to guess, from the little outage map that I saw on my phone, maybe 20, 25 houses. Not even my mom's house, who lives literally like 10 houses down from us. She wasn't without power, just us. Normally, so we got that nice generator now, thanks to that long power outage we had like last year or the year before. Normally, I'm not really keen on messing with the generator unless I know the power's going to be off for a while. They had updated the thing. Mind you, it was a little after midnight when we got home. They had updated the thing that said the power is going to be back on by 3 a.m. Usually, it's on before that. Because of the circumstance of us just getting home and, you know, like we want to unload our stuff, you know, my mom's here. Also, it's kind of like humid and like hot outside, so our house is going to get warm pretty quick and humid. I was like, screw this. I went right outside, grabbed the generator, put gas in it, fired it up, you know, hooked everything up. You know, got our lights going again, which was nice. And then, you know, visited with my mom for a little bit, and then we ate because we were literally starving. And then she took off. Well, I showed her the video on my laptop, so I had like just like the raw video that I recorded, and that's, you know, the one I showed her. You know, obviously bawled her eyes out, and then, you know, ended up leaving a little bit after that. Another thing I do when we leave is we have an electric water heater. I turn it off because I'm not gonna sit there and, you know, have the thing making sure our water stays hot when we're not gonna use it. You know, if we're gone for more than a couple days, you know, if we're gone for a day or two, like, I'm not worried about it. But, you know, I knew we were gonna be gone for, you know, like 9, 10, 11 days, whatever it was. So I turned it off. Obviously, we have no hot water. The thing with that is powered by an entirely separate line coming into our house. So when I connect our generator, it's not powering that, nor could it, because that thing is electric and it takes a ton of power. Actually, our generator could power it, but it wouldn't be able to do like our AC and that, you know what I mean? So kind of a crappy situation, but knock on wood, we usually don't lose power for an extended period of time. And if the tank is full when we lose power and hot, if we take a short, you know, like 2-3 minute shower, it'll last us a couple days, which, ask me how I know. So we didn't have any hot water. Shelby was dying to take a shower just because we did get like pretty hot and sweaty most of that day before we flew on the plane, because we were outside. You know, we were at that, you know, arcade, which, you know, you're running around touching all those nasty machines. So she takes an ice cold shower. Like, it physically pained me to even think about it. She was in there like, oh my God. It was pretty funny to listen to, but I ended up sitting down on the couch out here and I'm just like, oh my God. Passed out. She wakes me up around like, I don't know, it had to be like 2:30. She's like, I think the power's back on. We looked outside, you know, there was definitely some street lights on that weren't on before. So I shut the generator off, you know, unhooked it, switched the breakers back, and then, you know, turned the main one on. Power was on, thank God it stayed on. And that pretty much wrapped the trip. So the next day, we slept late. Like, it was like 12, 1 o'clock, which for me is insane. Normally, sleeping in for me is normally about 7 a.m., 7:30, 8 if we go to bed really late, because I'm just so used to getting up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock for work that, you know, sleeping in is literally like 7, 8 o'clock for me. That's like 3+ extra hours of sleep. But I slept the longest out of this whole, you know, vacation. And like I said, I got up at, it was like 12, 1 o'clock, something like that, which was crazy. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to sleep tonight. But my mom had like a little celebration dinner for us with me, Shelby, you know, obviously my mom, my uncle, my grandma, and my uncle's daughter, you know, which would be my niece or cousin. I'm horrible with we got such a small family that I'm horrible with remembering like the terms, because like you almost like never really say them. But that was delicious. It had like fried fish, you know, homemade, you know, barbecue ribs or whatever. Just all kinds of like other little sides, it was nice. At first when she had told me about it, I was like, oh my God, like that's our first day back. Like I'm gonna want to like just relax. But we ended up going over there, had a blast. It was really fun. We stayed for a couple hours, came back and just pretty much chilled. That morning we woke up, I did yard work. I had to catch up on a lot of yard work because our grass was pretty tall, you know, need weed whacking. I had to cut it. Shelby gave the dogs a bath, washed their bedding, you know, washed their blankets that they were sleeping on the couch, and just kind of straightened up the house a little bit. It still looks rough right now, as it always does lately, because we've kind of like unpacked more, and by unpacking I mean just kind of like setting things everywhere as we need them. So I'm gonna go do some of that right now, but it's been a good week so far. Yesterday I got off work really early. Today I got a no harm, which means I get to go home from work like basically like right after I get there. I did make like another vlog, so that'll be, you know, in the next video. But yeah, after this is all the Florida clips. Now I'm gonna start editing the wedding video, and hope you guys enjoyed the clips. I know I wanted to do one every day, but some of the days like we just either we didn't really do much, or like the weather was just crappy and, you know, like not doing anything that's worth filming. We did not end up going to Universal. So the reason was, like, for me, I could have really cared less because we went last June, and then we went in January, or yeah, it was January this year we went, where we went to Universal again, and I was like, you know, that'll be 3 times like in a 1-year span. Like it's like $100, you know, or whatever per ticket, like 110. Shelby thought that I think it was her mom said she had a discount that could get us the tickets for like 70 or something like that. And I was like, if it's that cheap, you know, I'll probably go. I was like, otherwise, you know, if not, I might. I've got one of my best friends that I used to work with actually moved down to Florida about 2 years ago, like right before COVID happened. I was like, I might sit the Universal trip out and, you know, meet up with him, you know, grab some food and, you know, just catch up, hang out. That didn't end up happening either, but, so the Universal tickets got more expensive. I swear when we went the last 2 times, it was like just over $100. It was like $100 plus tax. So it was like 107, 110, something like that. The first time we went, we paid like 130, and we got like both worlds at Universal, like the Harry Potter world or whatever, like where it's like a separate ticket, and like the main Universal park or whatever. I don't know the difference in the names, but yeah, we look up the ticket prices, and it was like $130 something per person, and none of our discounts worked. So all of us were just kind of like, you know, it's just $130 for the ticket. It's like $20 for the parking, so we got 2 cars, so there's another $40. You know, the tolls that you got to drive through and down the highway, you know, there's probably another $5 or $10. You know, gas, and then everything we're gonna buy there. You know, so I'm like, for me and Jake, you know, paying for, you know, gas and parking and stuff like that. Well, actually, Shelby pays for a lot of that stuff too. I don't want to, like, you know, single anybody out or whatever like that. That's totally not what I meant by that. But, you know, for most of, you know, that, I'm trying to think of how to word that. Like, for a couple of us, that's, you know, going to be like over $200, you know, for the tickets, you know, parking, gas, and, you know, like whatever food and drink, you know, just getting like food and drinks there is crazy expensive too. Like, we got those burgers like when we went in January, that was like $50 or something like that for me and Shelby. Just get like 2 burgers, 2 fries, and like 2 drinks or whatever it was. It was insane, and the burgers were disgusting. But yeah, so we just kind of ultimately were like, I'm good, I'll probably not go this year. Definitely go next year. You know, that's just one of those things where we've been twice, you know, in the last year already, so didn't really feel like we were missing out. Plus, the weather that day ended up, it said it was supposed to rain off and on, and then it said no rain, but we ended up waking up that day, it was beautiful outside, and then around 1, 2 o'clock, all hell broke loose for like a good couple hours. Like, it rained for a while off and on, but like it was thundering and lightning and stuff like that. So I'm like, that would have been pretty crappy to be there in that kind of weather. So yeah, we didn't end up doing that, but we did a lot of other stuff. And, you know, some days just literally chilled and swam all day. And honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. You know, I obviously wish we could have better weather most days, but hey, it is what it is. We absolutely loved every minute of it. Our wedding day ended up being like as just literally basically as perfect as we could imagine. Like, we both have horrible anxiety, and we were just expecting the worst. The rain that day was supposed to just unleash, like literally at 4 o'clock when our wedding was supposed to happen is when all hell was supposed to break loose outside, and it didn't. And it just, like, everything was amazing. So definitely can't wait to share that video. That's, like I said, I'm gonna edit that next. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching, appreciate all the love and support, and I'm gonna go ahead and get to editing the wedding video now, which I'm sure everyone's pretty anxious to see. Yeah, alright guys, I'll see you next time.